Greetings and welcome to another impressions video here at Words About Games, and today we're going to be looking at Heaven's Vault. Heaven's Vault is an adventure game that casts players in the role of Alia Elsara, an archaeologist exploring the history of a strange nebula made up of moons and tied together by rivers that are navigated by sail ships. Together with a robot companion Six, she's tasked with searching for a roboticist, along the way unearthing the secrets that the past holds and uncovering a large and looming threat to the survival of the entire nebula. Heaven's Vault is a weird game to cast a critical eye over, I feel. Wearing my game critic hat, I could poke a bunch of holes in it. Alia's movement is stiff and slow, making the act of simply walking from one side of a level to another tedious. Travelling between different worlds or exploring the open world of the nebula is made quite frustrating by the ship you pilot, which controls like a brick with a rudder attached to it, and the animations in the game never felt wholly comfortable. Alia, and all the characters in the game, move through the world in an almost stop-motion-like fashion. When you start moving, you leave an echo of your previous location, which is thematically appropriate given how much Heaven's Vault focuses on the impact of the past, but can make precise movement bothersome. I also find myself getting stuck in bits of scenery more often than I'd like. Those are, succinctly, my criticisms of the game. I've led with them simply because I need to put them in the video to give you an accurate picture of my impressions of the game. Also, because you can push them to one side, as I've done in getting well and truly sucked into the world that Inkle have created in Heaven's Vault. Sure, the game isn't perfect, no game is after all, but while the issues I've mentioned are both present and noticeable, in the grand scheme of things, they haven't impacted my enjoyment of the game at all. Heaven's Vault is a truly fascinating game and a compelling journey right from the word go. This game sucked me in with its core gameplay mechanic of translating an ancient language, of slowly building out your vocabulary by finding new inscriptions written in an ancient alphabet that you need to piece together to learn more about the rich and detailed history of the world you're inhabiting. It's approached in such a fantastic way too. Ostensibly, it's an intricate puzzle mechanic. You're presented with a series of text and you need to try and decipher what it says. Rather than simply blindly stabbing in the dark until you've got it right, you'll need to be aware of the context of where you find the writing. Finding an engraving above a fireplace, to use an early game example, gives you a fairly strong indication that the word fire is involved somewhere. As you progress deeper and find more and more text, you'll be able to make more educated guesses, as well as confirm whether previous guesses at words were right or wrong, thanks to additional context. You'll also start actually learning how to read the language yourself. It's always an awesome feeling when you see a string of characters in a sentence and recognize the word before your possible choices even appear. You'll even be able to start making connections between similar words, like recognizing the ancient word for river because this one series of symbols bears a striking resemblance to the word for water. If you ever make an incorrect guess, either by misusing a word or mistranslating one entirely, it serves as a learning moment rather than an actual failure. Heaven's Vault does a really good job of making you feel smart, and the progression curve in the game is slow but methodical and really meticulously paced. There are two different types of choices in the game. Direct choices, such as deciding the fate of a character who betrays you or figuring out who to trust with what information. You also get a lot of dialogue options when talking with the pretty great cast of characters, though sometimes it can be hard to discern the tone of what you're about to say. One highlight, in a game which is full of them, is the relationship between Alia and Six. Their back and forth is excellent, but sometimes you can misread a dialogue option that shoots beyond snark and is just plain horrible, which can be a bit irritating. Sometimes Alia can also just be a straight-up jerk all by herself, which can feel at odds with the options you've been using for the entire rest of the conversation to that point, and that can feel momentarily jarring. Heaven's Vault also features more subtle choices thanks to the translation systems. Your translations have an impact on how the story plays out. By making translations, you're affecting the deductions and assumptions that Alia and Six are making, which can have a knock-on effect on where the story goes next. It's a really beautifully crafted system of mechanics which combine perfectly with the game's exploration, which is exploration done right. The world of Heaven's Vault ties lore and narrative together brilliantly. Your job as an archaeologist uncovering the history of the nebula directly informs and affects the narrative and vice versa, which makes poking around for new artifacts and engravings feel important as you slowly uncover new facts about the past which affect how you view the present. Nothing is unimportant or merely exists to extend playtime or give players some optional trinkets to collect. It's all connected and useful in some way to the rich history Inkle have created for their world, whether you're trading items for new engravings, showing them to your mechanic friend to find out what they do, or even use them to narrow down new, undiscovered ruins to explore. I found it hard to actually put the game down and break out of the cycle of discovery. Despite this being a deliberately slow-paced game, it always felt like I was finding something new and exciting, whether it was a new ruin, or a new piece of history, or a new narrative thread to tug on. Piecing together the recent and ancient past of the Nebula is an addictive experience, and I was constantly pushing myself to keep going. So yes, Heaven's Vault has some flaws in its gameplay. Movement is slow, spaceflight is tedious, and the animations are a bit weird. It's worth noting, but at the same time, none of these things actually bothered me in the slightest. I was captivated by the story, the characters, and the lore of the world I was exploring, full of so many wonderful details that all seem to tie together somehow. I've been loving every minute of translating the ancient language and exploring all of its ruins for as many secrets as I can find. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please leave us a comment, like, or subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've got tons of awesome videos coming every week, including review impressions, indie game of the week, debate-driven top 5 lists, video essays, and our weekly podcast where we discuss games, gaming culture, and the games industry. We also stream 3 times a week at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. But most importantly, have a fantastic day.